Hello and welcome to a special daytime edition of the JK Show. There's not a lot of light in here. Let me lean back. There we go. Can you see me? Let's see what the light does. Oh, that's a little better. This is a special daytime edition of the JK Show. It's good to have you. I actually have something to talk about today. I'm going to give you a list of 5 today. My famous lists of 5 that I'm known for on my blog. I have one for today. It's not necessarily humorous, but here it goes. You know, people, they often ask me, they say, JK, you're a political scientist. What are the 5 most important books that you read in college studying political science? What are the 5 that stick out that I actually did read, that everybody should read if they want to understand something about politics? So here it goes. We'll start from the bottom, as is my custom on the blog. So, number 5, it's actually a combo, and this is in no particular order, so you can say that any of these is your favorite. Doesn't matter. Number 5, Torture and Eucharist by William Kavanaugh. This is a case study of the Pinochet regime in Chile and the Catholic Church's response to those abuses. This is a fascinating book. The first chapter, this is kind of politics and theology meshed in together. So I think you'll really enjoy this book. The first chapter is worth the price of the book itself. The great Travis Tamarius told me to read this book, and I bought the book and I finally read the book, and it was the greatest advice, some of the best advice I've ever gotten in my entire life. So there you go, that's number 5. Number 4, Radical Son, A Generational Odyssey by David Horowitz. Basically, all you liberals out there, if you want to understand the modern conservative mind, at least in its neoconservative formulation, read this book. If you want to understand the conservative hostility to the whole cultural milieu that informs liberalism, liberalism that was ascendant in the 60s and is still with us today, read this book. This book will explain it to you very clearly. Number 3, The Future of Freedom by Fareed Zakaria. This book is actually a critique of modern American neoconservatism, and it looks at the spread of democracy into various countries, what didn't work, what did work, and it's worthy of critique at several points, but most notable in this book is his call for the repeal of the 17th Amendment to the Constitution, which is the direct election of U.S. senators. And I think that's a great idea for the purposes of developing a coherent foreign policy framework in U.S. Foreign relations. So there we go on that one. Number 2, The Supreme Court by William Rehnquist. If you want just a very good history of the Supreme Court with a little bit of editorial comments thrown in, but not too many, and you want to understand how it works in layman's terms, and how cases have developed and how precedent has developed, just read this book. It's brilliant. And number one, I've only been talking for 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, but number 1 is Congress, The Electoral Connection by David R. Mayhew. Listen, people, a lot of people are angry right now, and you got the Tea Party going on, and then you have, liberals and moderates like, what the Jimmy is going on in our country right now? Why are these people so angry? This book will explain it to you, even though it was written in 1983. It's so brilliant and so insightful. Basically, everything the Tea Party is about right now, and all the anger that is contained therein, is related to the collective action problem that Mayhew describes in the book. How is it, basically just to use a couple of examples here, how is it that Congress maintains pretty steadily an approval rating around 30%, but people rate their own congressmen in the neighborhood of 88 to 90%? How can that be? And why is it that they can never get anything done collectively? And why is it that all the incentives that Congress has as individuals militates against their ability to act in the interests of the nation? Read this book. You don't even have to assume bad faith on the part of your congresspeople. It's like, look, this is what our system does to perpetuate selfish re-election ambition and a lack of collective action, and safeguards and balances. So, still a brilliant book, a very worthy book. So, there we are. I've said so like 12 times, but I always do that. A couple other things I wanted to say. Russ Ramsey, now a pastor in Nashville, Tennessee. You were right. James Taylor's amazing. I will be getting some collection of his so I can sample his music more in depth. There's so many of his songs that we already know, that are famous, that are awesome, but I want a fuller explication, as it were, of James Taylor. So Russ Ramsey was right, and this will lead us into the second half of our show today. He was also right about another thing, and that is, I detect an impulse in myself, especially in these last couple of years of searching. My first impulse as a Christian, or my driving passion as a Christian, is unity. Christian unity, however it may be found. And what people need to realize is it's not only a unity of affection and of friendship and things, but it's an impulse toward visible unity. And as I thought about that, that leads inexorably in basically one direction with two branches. But I thought to myself this morning, it may be illegitimate in a certain sense that my seeking is almost entirely driven by this passion for unity, and it began all the while back when Russ would preach to the college group there that I was a member of in St. Louis at a church called Chesterfield Presbyterian Church. It was an impulse for unity, an inclination for unity. It was a reckless ecumenism. And I would tell him that I had this reckless ecumenism, and he's like, man, you can't unite the church all by yourself. And I understand that. But I also know that I'm asking really inconvenient questions about the nature of the church and the nature of its unity and what it's based on. And I don't feel like we should settle for an invisible unity or a false unity. And that seems to be what we're exhorted towards. If we want to remain, various flavors of Protestants, united somehow, but not our ecclesial bodies and not in the same ecclesial body. So, thoughts on that for now. Interesting questions I'm also considering would be, is it appropriate to view the church and the kingdom as synonymous? That's a worthy question that may end up being bigger in dialogues between Christians than I previously realized. So there we are. This will be a somewhat briefer edition of the JK show because I don't have much to talk about. But before I go, I have to tell you that this Saturday, my beloved alma mater, the University of Missouri Columbia, is playing #1 Oklahoma for basically all the marbles, because Oklahoma is #1, and there it is. Oklahoma's #1. We're number 11. We're undefeated. This is a huge step for Mizzou. If they can win this game, they're on the map as a national power. I'm telling you that. If you don't know who Mizzou is, you will after they win the game tomorrow. So, 7 o'clock Central Time, ABC. I think it's ABC. Oklahoma, Mizzou, from Mizzou. The college game day guys have come to Mizzou for the first time. ESPN College Game Day for the first time in Mizzou's history and in the history of game day, obviously. So it's very exciting. It's going to be an exciting game. I hope you have a chance to watch it. I greet those who will be at the game. You're lucky, and I would call you foul names, but this is a Christian program. So yeah, go Mizzou, beat OU. No offense to all you OU fans out there. I know only like 2 people in the entire world watch these videos, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah. So that's the special Friday vacation edition of the JK Show, daytime edition. We may return later on today with another episode. Maybe early tomorrow morning, like after midnight, so I can claim that it's tomorrow's episode. But we'll see. So have a nice day. The Lord bless you and keep you, and may He make His face to shine upon you and give you peace both now and forevermore. Amen. See you guys later.